Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the Rap Music Plug at your service. The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth album and song reviews, as well as artist interviews and general rap commentary sprinkled in between on all of what the mainstream and underground rap scenes have to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. What is up, family? Today I am joined by a very special guest by the name of Dolla Will, a rapper who is legitimately, no jokes, one of the funniest artists I've ever heard, with a crazy, impressive work ethic. Dolla has made many projects already, most notably Red Snow 5, an album that was released on March 26th, 2021, co-starring the Blicky Boyz and Iceberg Theory, friend of the show, who I interviewed earlier this year. So we're going to dig into the origins of Dolla, how he developed his one-of-a-kind style, why comedy is something he loves to put into his music, Butte, Montana, where Will is from, and Red Snow 5, and much more. So, Will, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Butte in the building.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to chop it up with you. As I said before, it's just hearing your music was definitely a shock, to be honest. When I heard it, I couldn't really believe what I was hearing, how funny it was. It took me a while to even get with it, but after that, I've really been enjoying it. Particularly Red Snow 5. I actually checked out the project you put out yesterday, which I've been meaning to cop. What's it called again? Getting Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time in Silverbow.
Yeah,
That's Butte, Silverbow County. It's like Butte's basically the only town in Silverbow County.
Okay,
and that's just where I live.
Nice.
Just more Butte, but thank you. Sorry.
Okay. So Dolla Will, where did your name come from? That's something I've been very curious about.
This is actually a really crazy story. So back when I first my first actual recorded rapping, which I could probably find, but I'm not gonna because I don't want anyone to hear it. I was in like 8th grade. So I have songs from back when I was in 8th grade even. But this is from when I want to say I really started at least frequently rapping was like junior year of high school. Me and a couple of friends, we made this video just rapping outside the bus station, the one bus station in Butte. And we're just spitting ridiculous bars. Like you think I say funny stuff now. This stuff probably wasn't even funny, but it was like funny to a 15-year-old.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just stupid, but we were just rapping outside this bus station. And we sent it to like the other people in town that we knew rap. And these fucking 30-year-old guys, they went by the Chevy Boys, took such offense to this for some reason. They freaked out. They made 3 or 4 freestyle videos, just like freestyling, dissing us. Like
were
these
you dissing them?
15-year-old kids. No, we didn't diss them at all.
They just were that offended. They just straight up dissed 15-year-olds.
They hated it. I don't know what it was, but it just set them off the wrong way. Like they were fucking pissed. And this dude goes, the only last time you saw some change was when your aunt gave you some $2 bills or something. And I was like, you know what? I'm Dolla Will. I don't know. It was just some dumb shit. As like a 15-year-old kid, I took their diss and made it my name, and it's just stuck.
Word. So you kind of touched on it. How'd you really get into rapping? Was it just in 8th grade, kind of fucking around with your friends, and then you grew to like it? Like, what inspired you to really take this seriously and actually enter the game?
Well, I definitely wasn't. I don't think I was taking it serious at first. I was always into funny rap. In Butte, rap is not a very big thing. Like, not that many people listen to hip hop or know like hip hop. And even the stuff that people were listening to at the time was just, they only knew what was big on the radio. And a lot of the time it was even behind the times. Like Nelly was big in Butte probably 10 years after everywhere else in the country. Like there's literally, if you go on to our main radio station, you're still going to hear Hot in Here as probably one of the first three songs. Like it's crazy. So we're like always behind the times, but also we missed apparently the entire 90s, like all the good shit. So I mostly just knew comedy rap, and all the shit everyone I listened to said the best was Wu-Tang. Best, their favorite rappers were Wu-Tang. So that was the first real actual hip hop I listened to, and from there I just like was addicted. And I just wanted to start rapping basically because I was always like creative. Even before then, I was making like stupid little joke raps in eighth grade and shit. So I just, me and my friends were just into rap. We were the only people really into rap, as far as I knew at the time, at least. So
And
we decided
so
to just start rapping.
word. And so you mentioned comedy rap. What are some of your kind of like the more defining influences in that lane that really inspired you?
The only ones I'd say that really like had any major influence on me, at least as a kid, were the Lonely Island. If you're
Mm,
familiar with them, I'm sure you
yeah,
probably are.
yeah.
Yeah, I was even before that, like fifth, sixth grade, that was like my shit. I loved the Lonely Island. Like I'm on a boat like a boss were some of my favorite songs ever
Yeah,
made. It
yeah.
it was kind of ridiculous. It's kind of embarrassing.
Man, I think around that time they really were popular. Was that like 2008, 2010, something like that? I was young too.
Yeah,
I was in
exactly.
8th grade, 10th grade, something along those lines. So that shit made me die
Oh,
too.
really?
That
How
was
old are
hilarious.
you?
I'm
If you don't.
26 right now. Just turned 26 last week,
Oh,
2 weeks
okay.
ago. Yeah. Yeah. So
Happy late birthday.
yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, no, they were
23, so
hilarious.
about that era.
Yeah. And so people like Weird Al, was that ever something you were actually into?
No, actually, I never really got into his stuff, to be honest. Like, he's funny, but like, it was never like The Lonely Island had like beats and stuff that I would actually want to go back and listen to. Like, if you actually ignore how stupid some of the stuff they're saying, like on their first album, they got this joint produced by DJ Newmark from Jurassic 5 that if you just ignore that the fact that they're saying dumb shit, they
Mhm.
actually rap pretty nice. So like I could really enjoy that. I don't know. With Weird Al, it's like I would know the original song, so it'd be harder for me to like get into it as much.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't enjoy Weird Al, or I've never definitely enjoyed Weird Al from like a straight musical level. If anything, I'm like, oh, that shit's funny, and like that's it, you know? Because I find like there's a pretty big difference between a Weird Al and there's like parody rap, which I think is what he does, and then there's rap that's very funny. And I think that's where you fall into, where it's like you actually can enjoy the bars, you can enjoy the beats, you can enjoy obviously the comedy to it, but it's not like, oh, haha, he's making this is funny, and that's like the only thing. Because like Weird Al, like he rapped straight over those beats, like he jacked like the what's that famous one, the Ryan Dirty one, White and Nerdy, yeah, like
Yeah,
that's I
exactly.
never like bumped that. Oh, this is a sick song. I just played it because it was funny at the time.
Exactly. Like what honestly inspired me to be funny wasn't even really like those humorous or like those comedy groups like that. It was really like after I started listening to rap, like my favorite rappers were always still funny. Like my favorite rappers ever are Sean Price and Redman and probably Big L. Three of my
Mhm.
biggest influences, and those three guys are all hilarious. You know what I'm saying? So like stuff that wasn't funny just kind of was a little more boring to me unless it was really fucking good. Like, I'm not going to say Mob Deep's boring. Mob Deep was one of my favorite groups ever, but like they didn't influence me in the same way. I knew I wasn't like that. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
can be, I don't know, funny.
So it sounds like yeah, like you obviously appreciated music that wasn't in the funny lane, like a Mob Deep, for example, but you
Right.
definitely took more inspiration from people that I think are more aligned to actually, who you are. Because it sounds like every interaction I've seen with you online, your music, you seem like a genuinely funny person. So it makes sense that, yeah, like people like Sean Price, that guy's dry humor is really something special, and rest in peace to him, because man, he would say it in the weirdest ways. Like it would be the hardest bar ever. He'd be saying it so much passion and anger, but it was legit like
Or it'd be
hysterical.
something that wasn't hard, and he'd say it like it was the hardest thing you heard in your life.
Yeah.
Like which I love that shit too.
He
He'd
was
be like,
self-aware, man. He was self-aware.
Sean
Like,
Price. I could talk about Sean Price for the entire interview, honestly. Like he is the greatest rapper of all time, in my opinion.
no,
Like,
that's real. That's real. Brokest rapper, that's no rapper would die even think saying that and proclaiming themselves as the brokest rapper, you know. That just speaks to how funny he was, how real he was.
not before him, no one really like they would have been embarrassed to make that, but he made it sound cool. He
Mhm.
made being the brokest rapper he made it sound like the thing you want to aspire to me almost. Like it was
Mhm.
crazy. Which obviously you don't want to be the brokest rapper someone knows, but Sean Price made it sound dope.
And so you chose to go kind of the more humor-filled rap versus more striking, I guess you could say, more serious, unfunny tone like most rap is. Is there any other key reasons? Is there a reason related to maybe that you feel like this is missing in the game? Like, is there anything else other than it just genuinely comes naturally to you?
It's a combination of the two, I think. I always like to do just what comes most naturally. Like I try not to think about anything too hard. Like whatever I want to do, or like whatever I keep finding myself going back to wanting to do something, like I just feel like that's probably what I'm going to be the best at because that's the natural thing.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, like a lot of rappers right now aren't that funny. And which is cool. There's a ton of rappers that I fucking love right now, but most of them are just serious. And it's not as fun to listen to for like all day. Like eventually it's like, shit, come on, man. I gotta like calm down. Like it puts you in a different mindset, honestly. Like you almost need something more fun to
Mhm.
listen to.
Yeah,
I
yeah, because
feel like
I feel like a lot of times I know even myself sometimes, but I know other friends that are in a rap, sometimes they can't listen to it for like the whole day or long periods of time because they just need a break and they might do something else. They might try to watch some TV, chill with friends instead to kind of decompress from all that like often very serious content, very violent content, whatever it may be. So, yeah, you kind of fill in that gap where you can listen to something lighter. You still get like, in my opinion, a lot of rapping quality too, a lot of musical quality, but it's also just like light and fun and kind of like, like there's actually when the album came out March 26th, Red Snow 5, I was actually in a pretty like shitty mood. I was just not having a good week and I was on a walk. It was really cold. I live in Ottawa in Canada, so it's right now it's not bad, but I think it was like -5 at the time. And it was rainy a bit, sleet, snow kind of feel. And I was walking to the beer store, then doing some groceries, and I just played. That was about 30, 40 minutes. I played like the majority of your album. And by the end of it, I just like kept finding myself smiling and just like felt so much lighter and just like not as like serious, because a lot of times I just take things too seriously. I take everything too personally. I freak out, anxious, all that. And I was kind of at the end of it. I was like, you know what? It'll be okay. I need to chill.
I I really appreciate that actually. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad my album like helped fucking make your day better. Like, goddamn, that's crazy to me.
No, no, no. I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate you doing it. And on the, as you kind of, we talked about off air here, one of the funniest things, kind of motifs, themes, patterns that you have in your music is soccer moms. So why do you and soccer moms get along so well? What's the connection there?
Um, I honestly, it's just like I kind of look young and I have red hair, and soccer moms just love that. Like, I'm really nice. Like, I'm really friendly. I think they just see me as like a good kid they want to corrupt
Oh,
or something. To be honest, I don't know. And that's just like I don't know. I've always been into like these milfy ladies, I guess. So like that's always been who I go for. So I've just like, I don't know. I don't know. I like
How do their kids usually feel about that?
their kids don't usually know
Oh, oh shit.
pretty much ever. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like never, honestly. Like the kids are separate. They like keep their kids separate from their personal uh affairs. I don't know,
Word. That
which
makes
I'm
sense.
fine with because like
It's less
I don't know.
messy.
Uh actually it has been before like as I've even rapped about, but I don't know. Yeah, it has gotten a little weird, a little a little messy.
I think there's a track on Red Snow 5. I don't remember which one it is. I think it might be actually I'm not you'll remember it obviously. Is you kind of talk about a soccer mom or a MILF or whatever freaking out on you a bit. It fucking made me laugh so much. This makes it feel real. It makes it feel so much more real hearing you speak it. Add some color to that. That's hilarious. That's a life I
Which
don't
one?
understand. I don't remember.
Or
It's like towards the end or middle of the album. I can remember the
said
flow
we
you're
need to
saying it.
talk. Fuck. I sideswiped your father's truck. Now I'm fucked or
That
something like
might be
that.
it. There was something where like she was like freaking out. Like you were saying like, oh, she was I wish I rememred it. It might come to me. It might come to me. But we can
It's
move
all
on
good.
to kind of more just generally your lyrical approach. Did you did you start off rapping in this way the whole time? Did you ever kind of have a phase where you were trying to kind of fit in more and be more kind of conventional slash traditional?
Yeah, I definitely did. I had a few phases, I guess I'd say. Cause like my first phase of ever rapping, or like the first phase that I want to like will give any credit to at
Hmm.
all would have been like when I was like a senior in high school. Me and some friends of mine dropped an album or dropped a mixtape, and it was just purely stupid shit. But it was like still Butte shit, actually, if you go back to it. Like we were still rapping about Butte and like Butte tweakers and stuff. It was just bullshit. But we were rapping on the same, or I guess beats that we knew. Like we actually rapped on a beat from Cuban Links. I'm seeing the album on your wall. We
Oh shit.
rapped on Wu Gambinos. We rapped on Mob Deep beat. Rapped on a beat from like 2001 by Dr. Dre. So we were going in like that direction, just saying really dumb versions of almost what I say. And then as I moved on, I like did try to fit in a little more, but I still made it funny. It was just much more focused on like Butte and like the tweakers and meth and drugs and stuff that's going on in town, I guess. Probably trying to fit in with like Griselda and shit. That would have been like when
Mm.
I discovered them, probably. A lot of stuff that's actually not even out right now. I like took it off Bandcamp. Then the turning point I want to say was actually, I can tell you the exact song. I was always, even when I started doing that stuff, I remember there was a song where I said something about like I fucked your mom, stabbed your dad, something like that. But the real turning point was a song called Free Mickens, which is actually the first song that the current Blicky Boys have together, because it was actually the second verse Lil Curb Stomp ever rapped. It was called Free Mickens. It's on Red Snow 4. And I said, put your dad in a casket. I put your mom on my mattress. And I thought that was so funny for some reason. So I just started going really into these mom bars after that, because I was like, I know a bunch of like shit I could rap about this. I know soccer moms, I know plenty of them. And since then, actually, is when I've really actually, I don't know, started to get to know them, is when I started rapping about them. But that song right there is what completely led me in that direction. And then from there, I started just wanting to say more outlandish shit because I thought it was funny to say funny shit, or it was chappy, I guess, which is a word probably most people don't understand. But chappy the best way I have to explain that is a song like something that just basically makes you laugh. Like it feels really good. It can either, there's a lot of ways, I guess, to define it, but like, do you know the song 20-minute turnarounds with Iceberg Theory on that album? That is a beat that I would consider chappy. It's like a, where the beat makes you laugh, where the bars are funny on there, either because Iceberg is just saying incredible fucking shit over a really good but incredibly ridiculous sounding beat. That's chappy, I guess.
What would you say is the kind of overall goal or intention that you set to kind of accomplish with your music? Like, what do you want people to get out of it as a listener?
To get out of it, um, I just want I just want them to enjoy it. Really, like I just want to make in like music that people really enjoy, but I want them to hear how I'm rapping because I feel like I'm rapping really well. And I don't know, I just want them to get like a really, you know, the same feeling I get when I listen to albums I love. I want them to get that feeling when they hear it, basically.
Yeah, and I think what has been one of your kind of like the weirdest, funniest, strangest reactions that anybody's given you when you show them your music? Because I can imagine it might be some funny ones if there are any.
Funny reactions. I mean, people have like reacted just like my mom reacts, probably has the funniest reaction. So like we drop me and like the arsonist, it's like the Blicky Boyz, Buddha, who I'm sure who's on Red Snow 5 3 times, Milo the Pyro, just everyone in Butte that like I fuck with. We do a Christmas album every year. And the first opening bar on last year's Christmas album is I say, "Your mother's lips taste like peppermint." And I said something to my mom because it was right at Christmas time and I didn't even know she bumped the album. But she's like, "Hey, do you want this peppermint bark?" And I was like, "No, I'm chilling. I'm honestly not a huge peppermint fan." And she's all, "Oh, so were you disappointed when that person's mom's lips taste like peppermint?" And I was like, "Oh my fucking God." Like in front of my whole family, my sister's boyfriend, just everyone, I was like, "Jesus Christ, why are you bringing this into family dinner?"
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. So she's like supportive in general. Like she actually listens to your music. That's awesome.
She's like supportive, but I don't think she like supports what I say. I just think she supports me.
Fair enough.
Basically, I don't know. I think she thinks it's funny. I think it's she thinks it's funnier than she'll actually give it credit for,
Hmm.
probably.
And so
But
we've touched on it a bunch of times. Right now, you put on for your city, Butte in Montana, as hard as I can think of any artist puts on for their city. It's almost mentioned in every song of yours, and the lyrical references, the titles, whatever it is, reference your hometown. So, what does Butte mean to you, and why do you feel it's so important to rep your city as hard as you do?
well, I don't know if it's that important to rep your city. I just think it's that important to rep Butte. That's just it's like the Butte attitude. I just think that like the way Butte is, it's unlike any other place I've ever been to. Just the whole fuck you, we're from Butte mentality. Like, I just think it's fascinating, honestly, the whole town of Butte, the history. Like, Butte used to be one of the actually the biggest city on this side of the Mississippi. We were like the fucking New York of just this half of the country, basically. And especially during like the world wars because we have like these huge copper mines and now Butte is nothing. It's like just a little small shithole town in Montana where like no one lives. You can't even tell that it used to be that big because you actually I'm because I know you heard the Meterville album.
Hmm.
it used to be twice the size that it is. They actually tore down most of it to fucking mine it. There's a giant pit filled with like acid water. Then just, I don't know. I just think it's like a story. Butte is just something that needs to be heard because it's just interesting. It's unlike anywhere else. And I just think it's kind of like a world people need to be brought into because I see stuff just like driving down the street, like that, especially in a small town, you don't ever see. Like proportionally to how big we are, the amount of like meth heads, fucking stattings and shit is ridiculous. And I just, Butte reps itself that hard. So I just don't feel like I could be a rapper from Butte, especially the first one that I feel like a lot of people are ever going to hear and not rep it that hard because I feel like the city deserves it. We haven't even had anyone worthwhile like ever come out of here. The only fucking famous person to ever come from here is Evil Knievel, and he's a piece of shit.
Damn, man. Yeah, like it seems like it's a pretty tight knit community because even amongst a place where you're saying there hasn't really, I mean, you said no one of note. You didn't even specify rapper. You named like six people right there just a few minutes ago that you really mess with. So it seems like you guys who are in it, you guys stay close and rep each other.
Yeah, basically, we're all really good friends. Those guys I just named. There's other people in Butte who rap, but shout out to Abnormal. He's actually on Red Snow 5. He's not like uh in like our crew kind of. He's the only other person I know that like raps that I would call my friend really or anything. Shout out to Dylan Boyle too, actually. He's cool too. But he's even in a completely different subgenre. Like he makes just trap and he's dope at it. He works with masters a lot. But yeah, we just stick together, I guess. The rest of the artists in town don't really like us or they're fairly neutral on us, but we're just so different.
Word. And so now I wanted to move to Red Snow 5, your recent album that I personally think is the best thing I've heard from you so far. And by no means do I feel like it was a necessarily some wildly different change in direction, but given the length, the focus I feel, and the production quality, I felt like it was bigger in feeling. So, did you approach this album any differently than your previous work?
Yeah, I definitely did. Um, I had made a couple, I had made 3 songs. The 2 songs that Blood Blixing produced and the song that Foul Monk produced beforehand, just like messing around making, random songs for potential albums. And I was like, these should go on Red Snow 5. But my plan, I had it planned out for a few months. To me, the most fun thing in the world is making music. So on my birthday, all I wanted to do was make a tape. So I just set that time aside, like got it, planned it with masters, everyone else, like come up to master's place, work on Red Snow 5 on my birthday. And I like spent that time finding samples that I really, really liked and really thought would go good together and make a dope album and just make dope beats that masters would fucking kill. So I had all these samples set aside. Pretty much every song that masters produced is one of those samples, and we just made 6 of them, the general backbone of the album. I was going to make more that day, but I never drink and I got fucking really drunk, so I kind of passed out and yeah, it all went to shit as it would. But we made the majority of that album that day just like enjoying, just having a really good time. It was like a birthday party in a way. I mean, there were no girls there or nothing, but it was like a kind of birthday party slash album recording session. It was one of the most fun sessions of my life. Iceberg sent through a bunch of verses. Regis got there first, so we got a bunch of work in. Stompy always has like writes fast and has shit ready to go. So we just made a lot of it that day, and you can really feel it, like especially towards the end of the album. If you listen to, oh, what's the song, Shanghai Noon, you can tell compared to my other verses on there that I'm really drunk. You can like feel the different energy, probably the less good rhymes, but like I just sound really fucking cool, I guess. I don't know. So it was different. It was like more focused on my end because I knew what I wanted to make it sound like. And Masters is a fucking genius. He's
Yeah.
probably my favorite person to work with. Like we've got probably 150 songs on my computer right now that either aren't going to come out or are planned for some future project. We just hang out and make songs together all the time. So we just kind of put together the backbone for this album, finished out a few more songs later on, and then a few random songs just kind of made it on there as well that I don't know, that just were like the song RA the Rugged Man with Lil Curb Stomp was an older song, but I just put it on there because I had 6 verses from Iceberg, 6 verses from Young Regis, and 5 from Lil Curb Stomp, and it was just bugging the fuck out of me. I was like, if I have 6 verses from each of these guys, I gotta have 6 verses from Curb Stomp too.
Yeah, and you bring up that song. So I mean, before I get to that, I find that really interesting because I definitely didn't know that you actually kind of picked the samples and got masters to then make the beats off that. I find that pretty interesting. Do you do that normally? Is that kind of how you guys record?
Recently, probably for the past like 5 to 6 months, that's what we've been doing. Yeah.
Because I think you picked some really dope samples. I didn't know you had really a hand in that. I thought that was all the producers. So that's really interesting. And yeah, so going to that RA track, I just had a general question. I because you like obviously the tracks call that, and then also you have a line something like, "Well, you're bumping. I bet you bump RA" or something like that. Is that supposed to be an insult? Because I before you feel like pressure to answer a certain way, I don't particularly have an affinity for RA the Rugged Man. I think he's super talented, but I can't really say I love his music. Like I like his features more than his actual albums. They come off too kind of self-important for my personal taste, but I mean, I respect the pen. I know he's a great talent, but yeah, just a question about that. It was just funny to me.
So it is supposed to be an insult. I'm not an R.A. the Rugged Man fan, and I think he's like kind of corny and stuff. But really, no, I've met a good amount of R.A. the Rugged Man fans, like super big fans, and those people are usually all really whack individuals. So it's like I'm saying you're like probably one of those type of people. Like they're like just these really
Yeah.
like, oh, bring real hip hop back. I only listen to R.A. the Rugged Man and Token.
Oh, that's
Like
hilarious.
they're just crazy motherfuckers that like it's crazy because they're like, I don't know. I actually maybe I'm just thinking of one individual person that but j- there's like a certain type of like hip hop fan that at least exists out in Montana that are just like very very like behind, like they're unaware of anything going on in the underground right now, to the point like these guys probably don't even know who like Griselda or Action Bronson even are, Rock Marciano. Uh they're like but they're like are the Rugged Man fans. They're usually really into like some, no diss to Vinny Paz. I fuck with like Jedi mind tricks and shit, but
Yeah,
they're
same.
usually big into Vinny Paz. I don't know. There's like a certain section of like rap fan that is really like underrated as being whack because I don't think many people know him.
Yeah, RA fans, I find they're kind of part of that group of hip hop fans that say they like lyricism a lot and they like, real rap, all that crap. But I find they're pretty what do you call it? not open-minded at all to other kinds of really lyrical rap that exists today. That's just a bit more different, like a Rock Marciano you mentioned, Action Bronson, Arm& Hammer even. Like, these people are crazy lyrical in my opinion, particularly Marcy and Arm& Hammer. Those are, like, some of my goats pretty much. But they just like lyrical rap that's just on a boom bap beat, always rapped in a way that's very 90s feeling. And I obviously like that stuff too. It's just you can tell when those people exist because they tend to just like super fast technical flows. They may even like Logic, or they don't like Logic and they only don't like him because of some of the fans. But I don't mess with that at all. And I find it's really self-serious. And that's part of the part that annoys me the most. Like, RA, just something about his personality rubs me the wrong way. But
Me
I'm not
too.
going to talk about him personally. I just, from his interviews, it just seems like, bring real rap back. It's that kind of same feeling that I get from the fans that I just I just don't find appealing at all, really.
Well, I was a fan of his until I saw interviews with him, and then I was like, it made his entire it put like his music in a different context for me that made it just seem whack to me after that. But that was like in high school. But the those guys, what's crazy to me is like they're those fans. I mean, they want like these certain type of beats that are like sound like boom bap beats or whatever. Usually they like hate like a beat with no drums. Usually that's
Mhm.
like their main go-to. They're like, this beat has no drums. What the fuck are you doing? How could you? You took the drums out. You're a fucking monster. Like they get so offended by it. But if you listen, like honestly, like to me, Rock Marcy or someone like that sounds more similar to like a 90s rapper than those artists even do, just because it sounds so much more like natural and authentic. Like
Mhm.
those beats now, the drums on them, you like those artist beats, they usually sound really like stiff and like I don't know. I saw Planet Asia tweet about like Kmart drums one time, and that's immediately what
That's
I thought of.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, like that. I think of that every time I think of like those fans now. They're like the beats sound like just like a really bootleg version of 90s beats, where like if you get a Rock Marcy song, these people clearly don't even like listen that deep. And I don't know why I'm only mentioning him. I just feel he's like an example most people should know. Uh like he still has shit with hard drums on it. Like oh, what was the song with it was like the first song I ever heard Stove got on. It was on Marcialago, that Puff Daddy song.
Oh,
That song's got harder
unbelievable.
drums than any of those like fucking fake 90s sounding beats sound like. And I mean, even that shit sounds like a fairly 90s beat, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But it just sounds like a modern evolution where the others sound like just a retread. And these people just prefer the retread because they don't want anything new. Like they wouldn't want, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. They just basically want to live in the same decade forever, which personally I guess is fine, but they're usually whack people for other reasons than that even. Like usually they're on
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I think at its core, rap is amazing because it always manages to stay current and authentic. Yeah, it managed to stay current and while also being authentic. And rap has evolved 100 billion times in its short infancy of a genre, and that's what's kept it strong, kept it great, in my opinion. And I find like trying to just stay in the past is so anti like what makes rap great. Like, cause yeah, you get Marcy feels authentic. That's like a good way to put it, even though the sound is not exactly the same as it was in the 90s. Like it just feels like it's in the same spirit of it, I guess. And that like yeah, like those kind of beats, that kind of style that just seems like it's trying too hard, that's not rap. Well, it is rap, but it's not good rap.
It's yeah, it's just whack rap.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to your album because I want to talk about the Cuban link style approach that you had with the two key co-stars and the Blicky Boys and the Iceberg Theory. And so let's start with the Blicky Boys. Describe your relationship with them. How did you guys meet, and how's it like recording with them?
Well, I'm actually one of the Blicky boys. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just co-starring the other two.
yeah. You're
But
part of the Blicky Boys. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I've known Young Regis for longer than Lil Curb Stomp. Young Regis I met at like a show way back in the day in Butte. When I was like kind of a kid, I met him one time. We did a show together. We were like, "Yo, you're dope, you're dope." And then like later on, we did like probably another show together. We just started like hanging out, making songs and shit. And I've probably been making music with Young Regis for like 2 or 3 years now. I want to say something like that. And then I remember I dropped an album with 187 back in 2019, um, on 420. And I remember that day real well because that was actually the first day I met Lil Curb Stomp. I went to Young Regis's and we were smoking with him and Fresh, who I mentioned in my bars, who was like a weed, like a one of the more uh, I don't know, popular weed dealers in town, I guess. Just this dude Fresh. Um, and we were smoking with them and bumping my album. And I remember because it's so well because I would see Curb Stomp later on from them, and this is before he'd ever rapped. Like maybe a like drunk freestyles or something, but just he had never like actually tried to rap or anything. And I remember later on he told me, it was like, man, that album I thought was trash, but then you drop that next album. I dropped this the original Jagaloon tape, and that one like he said made him realize that someone from Butte could even be dope. So I was there when he even started rapping. Like I said, the second song he ever made was that Free Mickens song I talked
Hmm.
about earlier. So I've known them forever, and we just have so much fun rapping together. The Blicky Boys was originally just me and Lil Curb Stomp, actually. We have an album
Oh
called The
shit.
Rise and Demise of the Blicky Boys that just dropped last November. And we've been making songs basically since he started rapping. We've just been making a bunch of songs together. He didn't even have songs that weren't with me until he just recently, a couple like 2 weeks ago now, I want to say, put out an album. So
Okay.
he and I have just naturally, I don't know, we've just always sounded dope together. Our voices or something, and just our styles, like, the way he'll say just crazy fucking shit. Like, I don't even want to come up with an example because I feel like I won't do it justice to how he raps it.
Yeah,
Like,
no, but you guys seem to just fit perfectly together. For those that haven't listened yet, the album that I definitely really fuck with, Blicky Boys Gangsta Edition, all Blixing beats. Blood Blixing's like quickly becoming like one of my favorite producers. He's
he's one
just
of the best producers ever, I think.
just crazy. Like I don't even I've only really even gotten like hip to his stuff towards the end of last year, but I've just been binging hard. And the beats he gave you guys was really dope. I think that's a dope album.
Thank
Um,
you.
and so now if we move to the other co-star of this project, Iceberg Theory, when I so I got introduced to you through him, and I found it really strange at first when I first like listened. I'm like, oh, who is this guy? Let me listen to him. I was like, like I don't know how to describe Ice, like, but in terms of his music, like it's has a lot of religious themes. It's very esoteric, mystical, and I found it hilarious that he messed with this kind of hip hop that's very lighthearted, hilarious, and just something I didn't see as a side of Ice, like at that till that point at least. And so, having worked together quite a bit already with him, you guys have a collab project and have many collaborations. In addition to that, Why do you think you guys click so well? Because it seemed like a surprise to me at first, but it works.
It surprised me too, actually, because I first met him. I knew his music a little bit, or I never really met him, but like online met him.
Mm-hmm.
I knew his music that he had, like his albums that he had been recently putting out. I think the first album I heard from him was the one he and Blood Blixen did together. That was the first album I'd heard from either of them, actually.
Oh shit, that's a
And I
good
was
one.
like immediately a fan of both of them because I was like, I don't know what the fuck this Iceberg dude's talking about, but he could rap. So like and his shit sounds dope. So I started listening to his shit more and started understanding a bit more, but I'm still lost with some of the stuff he says, but I'm just like, I don't even care because it's so fire.
Mm-hmm.
The way he like flows it and rhymes it, like his rhymes are really intricate, like, oh, it's crazy. But I saw him advertising a beat sale, and I didn't know his beats. I never heard a single beat he produced, but I was like, this guy's just dropped like 800 albums with fucking August Fannin, or do you say Fannin or Fanon? I actually
You
never
know what's
heard it.
crazy? I've heard the
I've
rapper
heard
he's
both. Yeah.
collabed with say it the two different ways on the same damn album. I was like, yo, get it right. I don't know what it is anymore. I think it's Fanon.
I think
I've
so
heard
too. I
I hear
think it's
Vic
Fanon.
Spencer say like Fanon, August Fanon, what up, or something in a song. And then I think he straight up says Fannin in another track. And I'm like, okay, that didn't help. But I think it's Fanon.
Vic Spencer's dope, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I was
Love
like,
it.
Iceberg's got fucking 800 albums with August Fanon. There's no way he's selling whack beats. So I just hit him up about his sale he was doing. And he was charging more at the time. He's doing like these crazy sales that people are sleeping on
Oh yeah,
too
yeah.
heavy right now. He was charging a decent amount more. Like, and I bought these beats without ever having heard from him. And I didn't make that album for a while because Curb Stomp had all he had done was he co-starred on Red Snow 4, which is it's like a Red Snow tradition actually. Like the second one on, I've always had like a different co-star. Like the second one was Buddha, who's on this one 3 times. But the fourth one was Curb Stomp, and that was basically besides our Christmas album that we had dropped, all the music he had out. So I was working on doing an album with him because I thought the world needed more Curb Stomp. I wanted to hear more Curb Stomp. So I kind of put off the Iceberg album for a while, finishing that. And then the Christmas album put it off more. So it took forever. But I started sending Iceberg a bunch of songs, and I realized like he really fucked with them. Like he just was thought they were hilarious. The song Piranha is what I think cemented like Iceberg and I as like just as far as just working together. I don't know if you've even heard that, if you know that song.
Which track?
It's
Which
on
album is that on? I'm not always
it's
good with names.
the Untitled Soccer Mom tape. It's the first project I dropped this
Uh,
year, the first one
no, I don't think I've
Iceberg
heard that
did.
one yet.
It's dope. It's like a probably not as good as Meterville, but I feel like I
Oh,
get jokes out
actually,
of it.
I think I did hear it. I think I did hear it, but only like once. Okay, yeah, because I'm like online looking at it. Yeah, I definitely recognize the album cover, so I think I've heard it. Yeah, yeah. I thought that was
Piranha's
good, but that was one of the first things I heard from you too. I think it was that
I'm
tape.
definitely an acquired taste. I feel like I
Oh
could
yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. But once you do, like, I think the key thing is after you kind of like, oh, okay, this is how the style is. You realize really quickly how fucking like actually good you are at rapping. And that actually brings me to like my one of the questions about Red Snow, my last one about the closing track Victories. I think that was like the best song I've ever heard you make. And the beat was I think that was a master's beat, right? I think so, yeah. He
that
killed
was
that
yeah.
beat. It's beautiful. It's like a perfect kind of like closing track type beat. It's just like very climactic and beautiful. Um but you basically rap non-stop on that track. And that's not like a 2 minute track. That's a 4+ minute track. So you're rapping straight off the top or straight through. And I wanted to understand, like, do you write your stuff down or do you just go off in the booth and just rap off top?
I write it all. I
You write
write
it
it
all.
all. I have a couple songs I think that I've recorded, that are just purely freestyles, but I've never dropped them or anything. They're not bad, but you can tell like I write like once you hear him, you'd be able to tell like, okay, this is him freestyling. But yeah, I write everything down. I do freestyle a lot though, and I write really quick. Like a lot of the time, especially recently, since I've been trying to, you know, drop a bunch of as much music as possible, I will write really fast. And so I could see where it would even come off as maybe kind of freestyle because I'll just go off in like different little tangents and shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like a it's like a giant stream of conscious, like exactly how that style is. And it was just it kept flowing really naturally. That's why I was thinking, is like, are you just like literally thinking about this and then this logical next line comes from the last? Like because it was really impressive. Like really
That is
impressive.
how I do it. I try to not think about any of my like I know this probably sounds this might sound like crazy or weird to say, but I try to not think about any of my bars too much. I try to just like say whatever comes natural, and as long as it sounds like as long as it's not whack or like something really, you know, stupid or over the top, like I just like to keep flowing with that because I just feel like that'll be the most natural sound I can get, basically, which is
Hmm.
going to be the best I think I can do.
Word. Word. So I'm actually starting to kind of provide artist development services to artists, and so why I bring that up is because one of the biggest components I find of the business side of independent artists is navigating the distribution of music. And I know you pretty much exclusively have your music up on Bandcamp versus releasing it on the Spotify's and the Apple Musics. So could you tell me a bit uh, insight into why you think that's like the best way for you, and what do you think the pros and cons of that are? Because I always find that really interesting how artists navigate this.
So I think it's the best for me for a combination of two reasons. For one, obviously, Bandcamp pays you. You get way more money through Bandcamp than anywhere else. Then, in addition to that, Bandcamp is just a lot more user friendly for the artist in general because you get paid a larger percentage. You can upload stuff quicker. It's immediately up as soon as you upload it. You can put any album cover you want. You
There's
can,
actually restrictions to that on like Apple Music and Spotify.
yeah, there are.
Oh,
I've had songs taken down because of the cover before. Because I had one song,
what?
a really old song, the first song that I had ever did with Masters and Buddha together. Like I had songs with both of them separate, but the first song the three of us ever did together got taken down. It was because it was called Banjo Kazooie.
Is that like? I mean, I'm not even familiar. Is that like a reference to something?
Yeah, that's a old Nintendo 64 game.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that is okay. Then it's a game. That's like, why is that getting taken down?
Yeah, so it was like that, and then the cover for that single, it just got taken down.
I'm looking at
Stuff
it.
like that.
Why is this being taken down? This is so funny. It just looks cute, if anything. I don't even like understand what I'm looking at necessarily because I forget the game, but that's that's so weird.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. But they take shit down like that, and then they don't like Bandcamp. You can charge whatever price you want to charge. You can make it so you can't listen to songs without playing them if you want. It just gives you so many options. But then a reason that I feel like is kind of overlooked, the people who make like who who usually want the kind of music I make, at least at first, like when no one knows who I am, all their all the artists they listen to distribute their music through Bandcamp mainly.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
becoming way more popular.
so I feel like people that are in the market for the type of rap I make, like they usually are gonna want the Bandcamp link. They usually go to Bandcamp first. I preferred Bandcamp always because I just like I don't use streaming services or anything like that. I just have a iPod that I have a bunch of songs on that I just keep adding to. So I know like people either like me or people that like the type of music I make, they use Bandcamp. So I should just feel like that should be the main one I use because that'll make it the most accessible to them, the people that are going to be willing to pay for it. I do actually use streaming services a little bit, but all I really put out on there are I've been putting out like a lot of music recently. So every week that I haven't put out an album, I've put out just like a random single that's not, connected to any project or anything, usually just on that Friday. And I've
Mm.
been putting those on streaming services. So then if people hear those through the streaming service and like my stuff, they got to look for my music that they can buy and they'll find a lot more music.
Yeah, I actually think that's a pretty cool thing you're doing because it actually, I think I saw a tweet by Vic Spencer on the topic of him again, where he tweeted like how he has different kinds of like selections or types of his music on all the different platforms, like
Yeah, I
obviously
saw
like
that
those
too.
and yeah, and I found that really interesting because I think you're touching on a lot of important things related to like understanding the ecosystem that your listeners may be into. Like they're into obviously like I told you I got into through Iceberg Theory. He doesn't have any of his music on streaming, so I never even think to stream it. I always go on Bandcamp. And I think that's a really good thing to kind of understand for other artists listening that you need to understand what your target audience, how they are, what they do, where they go to get their music, because that's really important. And then you can push your merch too, which I find is like there's nothing even comparable on any other platform. You don't have like a artist page where you can directly buy, which I just think is so whack. Like you don't even can't even have a link. Like it's
Yeah,
just like such
exactly.
an easy thing that they could have done, but they don't for obvious reasons. And yeah, and I think that's really interesting. You also have the like mailing lists are becoming really important. And you pretty much have one built in. As soon as you buy a project on Bandcamp, you can just tick that add to the mailing list of this guy, and then I get all the messages of the artist that you clearly like because you bought something from them. So it's
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I agree.
I really like that too. I actually send out messages on there a lot. I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's dope because people will just for sure see it that I've bought something. Like, hey, I just got an email from Bandcamp from Dolla, or I just got two because I'll probably drop an album and say something. And hopefully that helps, like, because I'll put links to other people's stuff. Like the Blicky Boys have each put out music recently, and I've sent out links there, and they've
Yeah.
gotten sales from that.
Yeah, no, I think Bandcamp is quickly becoming like my favorite. I still use the streaming services mainly just out of convenience sometimes, but I have an iPod Classic like you. I don't know if it's the same one, but I have 160 gigs. Not even enough for the amount of music I actually have on my regular iTunes. But Bandcamp is just so good for discovering music. I never use streaming for that. I just stream specific music I already like. I've never bothered using the playlist or the like there's no way to even like use that platform for discovering music. But Bandcamp, they have the editorials sections. They even have like the discover page that just has like pretty good lists of random stuff that I've bought a lot of music just by scrolling and scrolling.
Exactly. The the only places I like really discover new music besides someone just showing me or telling me, like if I'm looking for to find new music, I'm on Bandcamp or I'm on YouTube. Like nothing else really suggests stuff that you're actually going to be interested in
Hmm.
80% of the time. Or if
Yeah.
it does, like Spotify, because like at work I'll use Spotify sometimes just because it's on the work computer,
Hmm.
and I'll like anything like that. It's like, oh, you'll probably like this. Say I'm listening, I don't know, fuck. You could be playing my shit. The only anyone's shit, like no matter how underground you go, it's just gonna be like, here, listen to Benny. Like I'm dead serious. Like every time it's like, I think, you know what? you want to listen to Benny right now. And it's like, Benny's dope, but Benny's not the only person I want to listen to Spotify. And then
Yeah.
it'll throw you a curveball and be like, you know what? Here's Freddie Gibbs. Here's Action Bronson. Obviously, I fuck with Freddie Gibbs. I'm wearing a Freddie Gibbs hoodie right now, but it's just like, shit,
Oh
come on.
shit, that's a nice hoodie.
Like, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, I don't know. They just like don't really ever introduce me to anything new. They just show me the more popular stuff that I already listen to.
Mm-hmm. Word. Okay, man, this has been a really fun conversation. Before we wrap, I want to just get to understand what do you have coming up in the future. I bet you have 30 projects dropping in the
I
next month, but what's going on?
I got actually quite a few projects that I've been working on. Um, on 420, Young Regis and I are gonna drop an album. We've been trying to make this album for since we used to be next door neighbors, and we had this shed that we would smoke in, listen to music, and write shit in and stuff, like on his, like a little more on his property, I guess. And we called the shed the Wedgwood because it had this stove that just said Wedgwood that we couldn't move in there. So we've been trying to make this album the Wedgwood tape for like a year and it just never happened. So on 420, we're finally releasing that. Then in May, I got an album Butte Chips with Iceberg Theory coming out.
Mm.
That's we actually Meterville's mostly leftover songs from Butte Chips, the songs that
Oh,
like didn't make the cut.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. I got a lot of songs from it on there, on my computer right now, and it's definitely some of my best stuff. That's going to be a really dope album. I also have, I want 2 Sundays ago, I made 8 songs. I rapped over 8 Blood Blicks and beats. I got those sitting on my hard drive. I don't know what's even going on with those, but I just made 8 songs over Blood Blicks and beats. Me and Masters, like I said, we have a couple hundred songs probably together. We're gonna drop an album in November. We're gonna just keep stacking them and get whatever the best songs are. That Victory song was a cut song from that,
Oh,
actually, that I just felt like I just had listened to it so many times. I just was like, this song's too dope to not put out. Um, Plenty of stuff. We're gonna I'm on Young Regis's album that's coming out on the 7th 3 times, actually. So I got some more features, some more songs coming out real soon. And then I'm sure there's stuff I'm even forgetting. Iceberg and I have like a separate project that I don't even know. We haven't even said anything about it. So I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything, but we're just rapping together on
dope.
it. Different producers, a lot of different music. Blicky Boyz are gonna make another album. I'm gonna do a I think also in addition to all that, Once Upon a Time in Silverbow is gonna be like kind of the start of a series. I'm gonna drop Once Upon a Time in Floral Park next, which is a neighborhood in Butte, the
Mm.
one that the Wedgwood's in that like I used to live in. So a lot of different music. Just I've kind of just been going with making songs and either putting them together as projects or just sitting down for a day and just making a project in that one sitting.
Yeah, your work ethic is insane. So I'm
It's
really
just
excited
fun.
for all that.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited to get to it. I dropped 7 albums this year so far, or 7 projects, and I plan on definitely doubling that. I'm sure I'll do more. It's only April 2nd or 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Word. All right, man. Thank you so much. This has been a really fun conversation. I hope anybody listening check out $2 Will's music. It'll be in the description of this episode wherever you stream it or watch it. And yeah, take care, everybody. Thanks again. Thanks again, Will. I really, really enjoyed it. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, man. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.